What's up, Trader's Edge? It's Mark Sebastian, your only option. And this is your look at the week ahead. I'm going to tell you about the economic data that's coming out. I'm going to go through the one earnings I care about, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the indexes. So let's dig in. There is one economic report that matters this week. CPI comes out on Wednesday, which happens to mesh with VIX expiration. So I'm going to lead off by giving you guys something I don't normally do. It's a trade idea. We're going to look at the VIX options. The VIX closed 1293. The VIX futures 1335. Now, the morning of CPI comes out at 8:30. VIX settles between 9:30 and 10. The morning of CPI, VIX is going to settle. Now, here is a really inexpensive shot at if CPI comes in, light and the market takes off and volatility collapses. The 12.5 puts that expire next Wednesday on Valentine's Day are 5 cents. Really inexpensive. If CPI comes in nice and volatility collapses, those could be worth 20, 30, 40 cents. I'm not saying bet the farm on it, but is it worth it to me to pick up 10 of those for $50 and maybe they return $100, $200, or $300? Yes. So very rarely do I lead off with a play on the week ahead, but I like these VIX Feb 12.5 puts as a potential play. All right, now let's talk about these indexes. And hopefully you watched my video from Friday night. But with the S&P at an all-time high and with MGK blowing the doors off, all right, it's up 10% over the last month. We need to see RSP, which is only up about 0.5%, 1.5%, start to catch up. We need to see strength in the IWM, which you can see is starting to rally. We need to see strength in MDY, the mid-cap ETF, and see if that can start to rally. We need the rest of the market to catch up. What's the best way to express that? I might buy the diamonds. All right. The diamonds are a really good cross section of the market. I would buy the diamonds. I would buy March VIX calls because the VIX curve is cheap. I like that pair a lot. All right. So now what stocks am I watching? Well, we'll start with Apple. Apple closed below the 21. It has closed below its 50-day. The question is it going to make a run at the 200? I think the answer is yes. There's not a lot of great reasons to be long Apple here. Money is pouring into AI. Where does it leave? Apple. So I'm keeping a tight eye on Apple. The next one I'm watching, Applied Materials. Had a really strong day on Friday. But even with this strong day, price earnings ratio is only 21. So there may be some upside here. Kind of interesting. There may be some upside here. I'm watching these earnings very closely. We've seen some parabolic moves out of earnings. This is one that has the potential to do that. All right. Next on my stocks to watch is the oil names. Conoco reported earnings. ConocoPhillips, really bad. Totally tanked, but managed to hold the 21-day. And if you look at Olivia Vaz's volume profiles, it's sitting at support. I'm looking to see if we can get a bounce. I like oil this week. I think there's a real chance that we see oil catch a bid. So that's Apple, AMAT, Conoco. Next up, DraftKings. The Super Bowl. Is DraftKings going to have a super hangover after the Super Bowl? Look at this run. My guess is yes. If trying to short DraftKings has been very dubious for me, but if there was a time to short DraftKings, it might be this week post Super Bowl after this Super Bowl hangover. Now, my final stock to watch, it's NVIDIA. It is at $721. It's picked up since January 2nd, all right, when it opened, $492. It is up about $230, almost 50, call it, I don't know, we'll call it 40% in a month. That's an insane rally. Earnings are coming up. My guess is that this starts to run out of steam. All right, now, bonus stock to watch. All right, after NVIDIA, Riot. We saw Bitcoin starting to rally, Bitcoin starting to pop. Prior to the listing of the Bitcoin ETF, this thing got to 18.5. I don't know if it goes there, but it looks like it's going to 17. I like calls for Friday and Riot. That's one of the names I really like. All right, now, just kind of looking around the whole thing, I just want to kind of touch on oil. It looks like it's starting to, watch for it to break, USO to break 73. It does that, we could be off to the races. And then finally, I want to look at the shiny stuff. It's stuck in a range. Right now, money is moving into the Mag 7 instead of gold for safe haven. So I don't know when gold gets off the mat, but it doesn't look like it's going to be this week. So there you have it. Keep an eye on CPI. I've kind of laid out what's going to happen with the indexes. I've given you my 5 stocks to watch, plus Bitcoin, gold, and oil. All right. Now, this Thursday, I want you to join me. I'm going to talk about how you can invest and trade in really expensive names, spending as little as $1,000. This is using options to kind of trade in an investing way. And I'm going to show you how I pick stocks, how I trade them, and why, since I started using this strategy, I haven't lost on a single trade. All right. I want you to join me. You can click the link in this email. And for everybody that joins, everybody that attends live, if you attend, the following week, I'm doing a class, a 3-hour class, myself, Andrew, and Leisha. We're going to cover spreading. 3 hours. It's going to be totally worth your time. We're going to go through credit and debit spreads. We're going to go through straddles and strangles. We're going to go through butterflies, iron condors, and other complex spreads. It's going to be the best morning you can spend learning and improving your trading. That is completely free if you attend our webinar on Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I am Mark Sebastian. I am your only option. Have a good one.